Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about parallel lines. Now, anytime you hear parallel lines, I want you to think about something. Do they ever touch? And the answer is they will never touch. Parallel lines run with each other, so that means they will have the same slope. Now, to demonstrate on how to find lines that are parallel with each other, I've got several examples of how to prove this. Well, my first example is find a parallel line of the equation y equals 3x plus 4 that goes through the point 1, 2. So, parallel lines means you have to have the same slope. So, what I'm going to be looking for is this. I'm going to be looking for an equation. Since it has the same slope, the slope is 3. So that means my new equation is going to look like 3x plus something. Okay? Now, one of the easiest way, in my opinion, on how to find out what that plus something is use our y equals mx plus b form. Now, look at my coordinate 1, 2, or my point 1, 2. My 1 is my x1. I'm sorry, it's my x, not my x1. And my y is 2. So my y is 2, my m is 3, my x is 1 plus b. So 3 times 1 is 3, so 2 equals 3 plus b. I'm going to solve for b by subtracting 3 on both sides. In this case, b equals 2 minus 3 is minus 1. So I'm going to plug this back into this equation right here. So my new equation of a parallel line that goes through y equals 3x plus 4 and point 1, 2 is y equals 3x. And since that 1 is negative, I'm going to make this minus 1. This is my new equation that is a parallel line. Next, find the parallel line of 3x plus 2y equals 10 that passes through the coordinate or the point negative 2, 7. Okay, so on this one's a little bit different because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come up with that equation that's in y equals mx plus b form. So my first thing I'm going to do is I need to solve for y. So by solving for y, I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. And this gives me 2y equals negative 3x, that 10's positive, plus 10. And finally, what I need to do is I need to take this 2 and I need to divide it by everything. So 2 divided by everything. So now my y equals negative 3 halves x. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So this is my equation. But the only thing is, I'm just interested in the slope, which is negative 3 halves. So my new equation is going to start off with y equals negative 3 halves x. Now I need to fill in what comes after it. Okay, so I'm going to take my y equals mx plus b form. My y is 7. My m is -3/2. My x in this case is -2 plus b. So I've got 7 equals, 2 negatives make a positive. So 3 times 2, which is 6, divided by 2, that gives me 3 plus b. And then finally what I want to do is I want to take my 3 and subtract it from 7. That gives me b equals 4. I'm going to move my 4 down right here, since my 4 is positive, plus 4. So this is my new equation. And notice the -3/2 are on both equations. That means they're parallel. Finally, but 2 examples that deal with find a parallel line if I give you x equals 4 that goes through point 2,3. So the key on this one is what I want to do is I want to graph this. So what I'm going to do is I want to graph, and we'll see what's happening here. So my x is 4. So to graph x equals 4, there's my x equals 4. X is a vertical line. So that means I can pick any point. Doesn't matter which point, up or down. And my line is right here. It's a vertical line. Now my point is going to be 2, 3. So that means I'm going to go over 2 and up 3. This is my point. Now notice, parallel. So it means I need to take this point. Parallel is going to run up and down. Doesn't matter. You can pick any point you want that goes straight up and down. I know some of us have got these computer programs where you have to pick 1 or 2 different points. You can go up or down from that. And what this means now is I'm going to right here. Now notice something. Notice this point right here. That's where my coordinate 2, 3 is. Where does that line hit? Well, if I go straight down and look on the x-axis, it hits at x equals 2. So that means my parallel is x equals 2. So I want you to try one yourself. So take a look at this. Find a line of y equals -2 that goes through the point -1, 4. You can pause it and then come back and see how I'm doing it. So what I want to do now is I want to graph this. I want to graph the y equals -2 and also the -1, 4. So -1, 4 is my point. -1, go up 4. Now, my y equals -2. I'm going to dip down 2. Now, y will actually go horizontally. So that means I have my -2. I can go over on our computer programs over to the left or right on that same -2, which is y. Then if I connect the dots, and this is what it's going horizontal. That means my point, which is -1, 4, if I move this over to the y-axis, or you can move it over to the left, what's going to happen is it's going to connect. And where does this line cross? It crosses at y equals 4. So y equals 4 is parallel to y equals negative 2. Now, one thing about parallel lines, to check to see if you're right, it's the same slope, but it also will have the same letter that equals some number. So in this case, my y's are the same letter, and it equals, and the numbers have to be different. So I'm going to put different numbers. If I look at my example number 3, take a look at this. X equals 4, it's the same letter, x equals 2, and the numbers are different. That's one way how you can check to see if you did this correctly. Well, this concludes parallel lines. So come back and look at perpendicular lines. Thank you very much.